If you need a car with loads of space that's comfortable, luxurious, will seat 7 people and can even go off-road, these 3, they should definitely be on your shortlist.
Absolutely, but the question is, which one of the 3 do we think is the best? The new Audi Q7, the long-awaited second generation Volvo XC90, or that old favourite, the Land Rover Discovery. It's yummy mummy heaven around here today. The models we've chosen to test are in our favourite trim and engine choices.
And the list price with options are all closely matched. Okay then, let's start with the oldest car here, which is the Land Rover. Now, when it comes to off-roading, this is the daddy, isn't it?
Absolutely. It has a proper low-range gearbox with locking differentials, which are all controlled from this panel just down here. It's so straightforward and easy to use. It's completely matte, I would say idiot-proof.
That means I could use it.
Say nothing.
Thanks.
Of course, the thing is, few people will ever use the Land Rover's true capability. And the Volvo XC90 and the Audi Q7 will be able to do all the off-roading the majority of drivers will ever need. But there's still something reassuring about knowing just what a Land Rover can do. But really, it's how these cars perform on the road that matters. And what I love about the Disco is that you sit so much higher in this commanding driving position than you do in the other 2.
Yeah, you really feel like you're king of the road, don't you, in this thing?
But ultimately, it's just not as good to drive as the other 2 cars. It's a workhorse and it shows.
It doesn't help that this thing is heavy, weighs about 2.5 tons, which is about half a ton more than the other 2, and that obviously affects the handling, and it also affects the economy. So go on, tell us, what is this thing averaging?
Oh, a mighty 27.6 miles to the gallon.
Ouch. Inside, the Land Rover is very nice, and it leads the field on cubby spaces, which can include a fridge. However, it feels a little dated now, especially its infotainment system, which is clunky and slow.
And while it's got the biggest overall load capacity, the seat mechanisms are fiddly to operate. They're not great if you're in a rush. With them all in place, the boot barely has enough luggage space for 2 people, let alone 7.
One issue I have with the Land Rover is that while it's, it's quite roomy in here, you can't slide the seats forward or backwards, and you can't recline them like you can in the other cars. Also, you do have to step up and drop down to get into it, so not great for small children or elderly relatives. Another issue I have, if I just pop over here to get this out of the way so you can see what's going on. To get into the rearmost seats, you have to fold this down and then feel about round under here. Fold that forward. Then it is quite easy to climb into the back, and I have to say that once you're back here, yes, this car has the most space in the back seats. If you look down here, you'll see the seats are quite raised up from the floor. That makes it a lot more comfortable. It feels spacious, and you also sit higher than the seats in front of you and slightly inwards, so you get a good view out. And as Ginny keeps telling me, that prevents children getting car sick.
However, despite this and the fact it's great off-road and looks like it means business, the Land Rover does lag behind the Audi and the Volvo in many ways. Now, for family buyers, what's going on here in the middle seat and in the back is what really matters, and the Volvo is really impressive. You can slide each of these 3 seats backwards and forwards, and you can also recline them back as well. Now, you can get a baby booster seat here in the front. You've got 2 ISOFIX points on these 2 outside seats. But what you are going to struggle with across here is to fit 3 full-size car seats or 3 full-size booster seats with backs. I've tried. It's just really not happening. It's just too much of a squeeze. But the great thing is this, how easy it is to get into that back row. All you need to do is push that forward. It slides so easily, and in you climb. There. That was almost ladylike, wasn't it? Now, once you're back here, first thing you realise is there isn't as much room as you get in the Discovery. That really is the king of space. But the plus point about the Volvo is the seats. They integrate with the rest of the car. They just seem identical, and they are so comfortable. You would just be in heaven sitting in here for a long journey. I'm not a big adult, but this is fine for me. I'll be happy in here, and the kids certainly will be.
The best bit is that with all 7 seats in place, the boot is huge. In fact, it's bigger than that on most mid-sized family cars. Plus the seating mechanism is so simple, even Ginny can fold all the seats down in no time at all. Well, with a bit of camera trickery.
Inside, the Volvo is suitably luxurious and incredibly well finished. It's minimalist and modern and is packed with all the latest technology. Its iPad-style touchscreen may seem light years ahead of the Land Rover system, but I find it fiddly to use and it isn't the most intuitive. You definitely need to spend time getting to know it in order to get the most out of it. When you know it though, it's pretty impressive. Now the Volvo has got the most impressive safety kit too. Both this and the Audi will automatically brake if they sense you're going to hit something in front, but the Volvo goes one better. Actually what it will do is also stop you if it senses you're going to turn right into a junction into oncoming traffic. Clever, eh?
It's also got something called run-off road protection, which is it's a world first actually. So if the car senses you're about to leave the road, it will prepare itself for a crash and it'll hunker you down in your seat to stop you flailing about all over the place.
Can we not test that though now, please?
I'll try my best.
That's all right, Matt, I'd rather not. Sitting in here, what really strikes me immediately is just how closed in you feel, and after coming out of the Discovery, just how sort of small the windscreen is, and you know, you don't feel like you've got as much space.
That's right, you don't sit as high as you do in the Discovery, but then it does feel more car-like, and that extends to the way it drives. It's just sharper to drive, it's lighter of course, and so it handles better. And this particular model, it's on the optional air suspension. It's a £2,150 option, whereas it's standard on the Discovery, but it is an option worth having because it does improve the ride quality over the normal car. I mean, the only weak point is the engine. It's just that it's a 2-litre 4-cylinder unit, so it's a bit noisier, it's not as punchy as the 3-litre V6s that you get in the other two.
But to be fair to Volvo, they have downsized all of their engines in the hope that they'll get better fuel economy.
Right.
So has it worked?
Well, let's see, the trick computer says 30.9 miles per gallon.
Ah, okay, it's all right, it's better than the Discovery. Not as good as I was expecting. Worth downsizing the engines?
Nope.
Overall though, the XC90 is a brilliant machine and a truly great all-rounder. But is it better than the Audi Q7?
Well, Ginny, it depends where your priorities lie. This Audi Q7 is brilliant in this middle row. For instance, it's the perfect height to just get onto the seat. You don't have to flop down or step up. And then look, if I slide this seat all the way back, I've got as much knee room as you'd find in a limousine, and I can fold and recline this seat back, and then it's like you're in business class. It's definitely the most comfortable here in the middle row. Another touch I like is this. The covered up Isofix fittings, easy to get to. Also, you have Isofix on all 6 passenger seats. Now, what's not so good, as I'll demonstrate now, is the space in the very back. So if I fold this down, it's a bit like the Land Rover, not as slick as in the Volvo. Pull this forward to get into the back. Now to pop at the rear seats, oh, it's electrically operated, and you can do it from the very back, which is a nice touch, but if you're impatient like me, it's not so great. And then if I climb in, pop these up. Yeah, even with these seats pushed all the way forward, it's the tightest in the back. If you look down here, you'll see you're sitting quite low to the floor. Overall, this is the worst in 7-seat mode, even though it's the best in 5-seat mode. You can't have it all.
With all the seats in place, its boot is the same size as you'll find on a Super Mini, so better than the Discovery, but not the Volvo. But in 5-seat mode, the Q7 trails the other two by some margin, though with them all down, the total space matches the Volvo.
However, Ginny, it just about trumps the Swede in terms of quality. You see, the Q7's materials just feel a little more solid and a touch plusher.
The Audi wins the tech war too. The optional virtual cockpit is even cooler than the Volvo's fiddly tablet display. You can get Google Earth for the nav, and you can even use your phone as an internet hotspot to access the net through the infotainment system. So you don't need a separate data plan for the car if you don't want one. But Matt, what really sets the Q7 apart for me is how it drives. It's fantastic. It steers and handles noticeably better than the XC90, and I've got to admit, it's just light years away from the Discovery. This car has also got the optional air suspension. It's £2,000, so a tad cheaper than that on the Volvo, but it's just better. It just feels fantastic. It wafts away.
It does, doesn't it? I mean, this thing just glides up the road. You don't notice the bumps at all. It almost pummels them back into the road. It really is a comfy car to travel in. And the seats, I really like the seats as well, although I think the ones in the front of the Volvo are just a little bit more comfortable.
But this definitely is the best engine. It's a 3-litre V6 and it's just fantastic. Just feel that. When you get your foot down, it rockets and it sticks to the road while it rockets.
Oh no, do you know what? This engine actually, 0 to 60 time, is similar to a Volkswagen Golf GTI.
I did not know that. That's fantastic.
And this gearbox, it's really smooth as well. It knows exactly which gear to pick and when. But bigger engine than the Volvo. What's that doing to the economy?
What do you think it's doing? Go on, have a guess.
In theory, it should be less.
Okay.
But
Okay.
what is it?
32.7.
So it's more. So this car, it's faster, yet more economical. I also think it rides better, it's more relaxing. This is the one I'm taking home, all right?
Nice try, Matt. I'm in the driving seat. I got the keys. It's coming home with me. And I guess with that, we've neatly passed our verdict. The Land Rover is ageing well and is the most practical and accomplished off-road out of the three. But the Volvo trumps the Land Rover in terms of style and comfort and is a better choice than the Audi if you regularly travel 7 Up.
However, Ginny, I think we both agreed that if you only occasionally need a third row of seats, then the Q7 just about beats the XC90 in almost every other way. If you click on the video windows, you can watch our individual reviews of these 3 SUVs. Also click the play icon for our latest video review and on our logo to subscribe.